pulled the cover off the swellfish today. She was sporting a glorious full coat of dust and dirt, but she survived the trip up to the Arctic. Obviously going boating on the Arctic Ocean. For years, I have had the most traveled swellfish boat. There's another swellfish sponsee, Brent. He's getting close, but I think I still got him beat. People thought I was crazy for dragging this boat all the way up here, but on Destination Adventure, a trip to the Arctic is not a trip to the Arctic without bringing the swellfish. So there is no crab here, or shrimp, or lobster, and we did get Northwest Territory fishing license, but you need permission to fish around Tuktoyaktuk. So today's just an exploring day, but it looks like there's good exploring around here. Welcome to stop number 1. We've been told that this is the first settlement here in Tuktoyaktuk. These old buildings over here. I haven't seen cabin construction like that before. The logs are just flush cut and then held in place with a beam in the corner. You're wondering what this big orange marker is. It's navigation for getting in here without hitting bottom. Not so important for my little boat, but somebody coming in a larger vessel definitely would have to use that. And the seagulls are not happy about me being here. I know that these are old because people have been telling me they're old, but they don't really look that old. Nevertheless, pretty cool to see them. But we've got some more exploring to do. They have a pretty serious erosion problem happening here in Tuktoyaktuk, and they think that in the next 50 years it's actually going to be gone. So they've done a certain amount of things to mitigate that, building up the shoreline, and we've been doing some rock collecting close to camp, but I'm worried that we're collecting rocks that are from somewhere else. So that's why we wanted to come out here and gather some. Look at this old sleigh. Kind of looks like this thing washed in here on a really high tide. Pretty cool though. There's very little tide fluctuation here at the Arctic Ocean, which has been kind of strange to get used to, but it's nice not having to worry about the boat floating away or getting beached. Kind of a neat thing over here, this is a first response tower for military, so if there's any attacks coming from overseas, these are the people that figure it out. It's quite strange boating in the harbor here because the water's so murky and it just stays so shallow. We're at 27 feet right now and that seems pretty average. Just gonna follow these buoys in, but there's something down at the end here that I really want to take a look at. One of the locations I really wanted to get to for a bit of exploring, right here. This abandoned oil drilling platform. I actually worked on the oil patch for about 2 years on the drilling rigs, but never did any of this ocean stuff, so I haven't the slightest idea what this thing actually is. It is much larger than I thought. Wow, it says Esso on it. That's pretty cool. Wow, it's huge. That ladder's looking pretty inviting right now. You want to climb up that? Tell me what's up there. I'm not sure if this thing is floating or if it's fixed. If it's floating, it's starting to sink for sure. Well, see, now the thing is, I really want to get up there for a closer inspection, but I know a certain somebody's going to be mad about it. I've already been in trouble once today, weighing out my options here. I'm just going to see how it feels. Oh, it's really slippery.
To hold it. See, this is very holding. I can hold this.
I think if I had some gloves, I could do it. But I worry if I get like a, if I start to slip, it's gonna just. How do you
gonna get off?
You crawl through the door. I mean, it's the perfect one because there's a ladder, but that ladder is old wood, not metal. Given the remoteness of our current location, it's probably not worth the climb up in there, but I do have the drone, so we'll take a closer look.
Take off.
This thing definitely looks like it's sinking. Other than that, there's not much going on there. Totally not worth a climb up there. Isn't that crazy to think about though? At one point in time, there was a team of people that would come out here every day to go to work. Now this thing is just sitting here. It's interesting, it's just built into pieces. Each of these is a separate piece, and they're all just tied together. There's a building with a door open, and I can't believe I'm not in there exploring it right now. I'm gonna see if I can go in for a closer look, take a peek through that door. Ooh, in like that. Turn off the obstacle avoidance. Not seeing much in there. I wonder what that net's for. It's a big net on the helipad. Like that is a super heavy duty net on there. I want to land the drone on the helipad. Like a real deal helicopter. Right about there.
Landing.
I did it. I'm on the helipad. Permission for takeoff?
Takeoff. Home point updated.
There you go. Full blown real deal oil something. Well, for anyone out there who's never heard of a pingo before, we are in the same boat. Metaphorically speaking, it's only Emmy and I in this particular boat. Anyways, that's a pingo. Way over there. I'd never heard of them before in my whole life. But we're gonna go take a look at it. All of this exploring so far has been within the harbor. We need to get out past the sand spit and around to get to the pingos, which means we're gonna be going into open ocean a little bit. But it's so shallow here in the harbor On the way out, we have something similar as what we saw when we were on the island. Directly in front of us, there's two kind of pillars, orange ones. You have to line those up like the sights on a rifle, and that'll be our clear passage out. It'll be deep enough for us. It doesn't really matter in this small little boat, but in a larger boat, it's pretty critical. It's too bright to tell, but this looks like a boat wreck right here. We're gonna do some rock hounding here on the beach, but what caught my eye was this thing. I thought it was a shipwreck, but I think it's actually just an old loading dock or something like that. Actually, I think it's a wooden barge. They must get some pretty gnarly storms here though. High tide line is right here. That big log stuck up there. It's crazy. I'm so used to the Pacific where you have 20+ foot tide swings. Here it's like, I don't know, maybe 2 feet, 3 feet, something like that. I've been asking around town and nobody seems to know what the tide swing is here, but I guess it's so minimal that people don't even think about it. Not sure if it's possible in the Arctic Ocean, but I'd really like to find a Japanese glass ball, fishing ball. I'm sure if you're watching Destination Adventure, you probably watch another channel called Outdoor Boys. And he took a plane to a really remote beach in Alaska, and he found like 54 or something of those glass Japanese balls. Here's a pretty good example of this erosion that's happening here. Town is just up on the other side of this. Well, you can see all the houses over there. Not really an immediate concern out here, but the same thing's happening over there. No bueno. I could not for the life of me figure out what this thing was. It's exactly what we were just talking about. When you're trying to get out of a shallow area, you gotta line these things up. That's one of them. On our final stretch into town, we saw some locals picking berries. So obviously I stopped to ask, and they were picking these. These are just a little bit underripe right now, but they're called cloudberries. Never heard of them before, but they are delicious. Oh wow, it's a skull. They don't have deer here. So what could this be? I think it's a caribou, because I just found a tiny little caribou shed. Very cool. There's camp right over there, and can you believe, well, it's getting a little deeper, it's 7.8 feet. I just looked right back there, it was 4 feet. Gots to be careful out here. That was crazy, this whole run in here. The depth stayed between 12.6 and 13 feet the entire way. I've never seen such a flat bottom. This is where it's going to get questionable if we can get close. It's our final approach. So far so good. Keeping it between 1.7 and 2.2 feet. Oh, getting deeper. 3 feet. I want to get right to the bottom of this thing. Can you believe it? Totally navigable. For some reason it's getting deeper. Well, it was either going to go one of two ways. Either we were going to get stuck or we weren't. And for quite a while we didn't.
Wow.
And now, yeah, couldn't get much shallower. kind of like paddling though. It's pretty nice. Still not overly deep, but 4.5 feet. More than enough for motoring along. And I'd like to try and get in beside this one. I'm gonna butcher it if I try and explain what a pingo actually is, but basically it's a hill with a core of ice. There's 1,400 of them here around Tuktoyaktuk, and this is, I think, the second largest in the world. So this is our channel coming back in here. We'll see if it's going to be deep enough. Looking pretty good so far. Wow, look at all those birds. So we're not going to pull the boat up and go actually walk on this thing, because I just have a feeling you're not allowed to. But if you guys are ever in Tuktoyaktuk and you want to get a close look at the pingos, you can absolutely rent canoes here and paddle out and see them. A couple people have recommended already. We got the swell fish. Oh, yeah, they are bald eagles. I wonder what they're doing there. It looks like this thing is actually eroding. There is also a boardwalk that you can walk basically right from the Welcome to Tuktoyaktuk sign. And it ends right on the top of that hill right there. This is the Destination Adventure exclusive, up close and personal pingo visit. You know, I didn't come all this way thinking, you know what, I gotta get out there and see those icy hills. But the reality is there's only a few places in the world you can see something like this, so I'm pretty stoked on it. What a beautiful evening. We wanted to do a late day kind of evening or nighttime boat expedition just because it's possible. A little earlier than we thought. It's only 9:30, but the sun still isn't setting till, I don't know, 2 or 3 in the morning. But just pristine out here right now. Dang it. I think that was a log. If that was a rock, we would have hit way harder. Yep. 2 feet. That'll do the trick. Bye, pingos. It's 10 o'clock right now, and you might think that the sun looks like it's setting, but it's gonna go like this through the horizon, and eventually about 2 in the morning, it's gonna set over here. That oil platform is cool. The pingos are pretty cool. But I'll tell you what's really cool. We finally got clearance to fish here in settlement territory. Gonna see if we can get into a whitefish on the Arctic. Never caught a whitefish before in my life. Haven't the slightest idea how to do it. So we're just gonna check a bunch of things out there and drag them around. See if something will bite it. Whoa.
Bite?
No. It's pretty small, I'm not gonna lie to you. But also, I've never caught a whitefish, and I've been told they're really not an aggressive hit. Like, they don't come and whack it, they kind of just suck it in. So you have to be very careful when you're reeling them in to not pull too hard, because they have soft lips. Yeah. Gotta be careful on those lips. Seems a little strange that we're fishing in like 10 feet of water. But you gotta go halfway to the ice sheet to get any amount of depth. Well, let's try the pingus. Well, I'm just gonna be honest with you. We drug fishing gear in, through, and around that harbor for hours without even the single hint of a fish. So our goal of catching a fish from the Arctic Ocean is unfortunately not getting crossed off the list. but that's okay. It was just a treat getting to take the swellfish out on the Arctic, especially getting up close and personal with the pingos. Now, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about this rock hounding that we've been doing. Emmy and I figured there'd be an awesome souvenir, not just for ourselves, but for some others, to collect rocks from these different places we've been visiting. And even better, we figured we'd get a rock tumbler and polish them up, not realizing that it's a 1 month turnaround per batch of rocks. 1 week each round, 4 different rounds. So the end of this video was supposed to have a beautiful reveal of a bunch of awesome rocks we've collected, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. But I'll keep you guys updated on the rock situation, and for now, I'd like to just thank you for tuning in to another episode of Destination Adventure. As always, take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footprints, and I'll catch you on the next one.